If you've been feeling like nobody understands you, if you've been carrying pain in silence, if you've been trying your best but still feeling like something is missing, then I want you to stop scrolling and listen closely. Because the truth is, you are not lost. You are waking up. Buddhism teaches that the moment you start feeling disconnected from your old life is the moment your soul starts calling you toward your real purpose. And once you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for feeling confused, because you realize your confusion is not a failure, it is a transition. So in this video, I'm going to show you 7 powerful Buddhist teachings that will unlock your purpose, destroy your attachment to people and outcomes, and give you the inner freedom you've been craving for so long. 1. Your purpose is not to impress anyone, it is to wake up. Most people live their life like they are on a stage, always feeling like someone is watching them and judging them. Even when nobody is there, their mind still acts like the world is looking. That's why they become so careful about everything. They choose clothes just to look right. They post things just to get attention. They choose a path in life just because it sounds impressive to others. Sometimes they even stay close to people they don't truly connect with, only because they are scared of being alone or looking like they failed. They keep explaining themselves again and again, hoping someone will finally understand them, even though deep inside they already know many people don't really care. And this is the painful truth. Many people call this living, but Buddhism teaches that this is not real living. It is like sleeping with your eyes open. Your body is moving, you are working, you are talking, you are smiling, but inside your soul feels tired because you are not being your true self. You are just trying to become a version of yourself that people will accept. But your purpose was never to look successful while you feel broken inside. Your purpose was never to chase fame while your heart stays empty. Your purpose was never to collect money while your mind stays restless. Your real purpose is to wake up from the illusion that people's approval is what gives you value. Because the moment you stop living to impress others, you finally start living in a way that feels real, natural, and peaceful. The more you chase validation, the more you lose your identity. The more you chase attention, the more you forget your own worth. But the day you realize you don't need applause to be powerful, you start walking differently. You stop forcing yourself to fit in, and you start becoming free inside. And that freedom is the beginning of your true purpose. 2. Detachment is not coldness. Detachment is freedom. Many people misunderstand detachment. They think detachment means you stop caring, you stop loving, or you become a cold person with no emotions. But Buddhism teaches something very different. Detachment is not about becoming heartless. It is about becoming free. It is about loving without losing yourself and caring without destroying your peace. Because the truth is, most people don't suffer because they love too much. They suffer because they get attached. Attachment means you start needing people to behave a certain way for you to feel okay. You start needing messages to feel important. You start needing attention to feel valued. You start needing someone to stay in your life, even when they are hurting you, because you are scared of being alone. And slowly, without realizing it, your happiness becomes dependent on someone else's actions. That is why you feel anxious when they don't reply. That is why you overthink when they change their tone. That is why you feel empty when they ignore you. Not because you are weak, but because your mind has made them your source of peace. And Buddhism says, the moment you give someone the power to control your peace, you become their prisoner. Detachment is the moment you take that power back. It is when you stop begging for what should be given naturally. It is when you stop chasing someone who keeps showing you they don't value you. It is when you understand that you can still have love in your heart, but you don't have to break yourself for anyone. Detachment doesn't mean you hate them. It means you finally love yourself enough to protect your mind. And when you learn this, your heart becomes lighter, your mind becomes calmer, and you start feeling a freedom that most people never experience. 3. Everything changes, so build your life on what cannot be taken. One of the deepest teachings in Buddhism is that nothing in this life stays the same forever. Everything changes, everything moves, and everything that feels permanent today can become different tomorrow. People change, feelings change, relationships change, money changes, situations change. Even your own mood and confidence can change in one single day. And this is exactly why so many people suffer, because they build their entire happiness on things that are not stable. Think about it. Many people make one person their whole world. They feel like as long as that person stays, they will be okay. They feel like as long as they get love, attention, or support from that person, life will feel meaningful. But then one day, that person becomes distant. One day, they stop caring the same way. One day, they leave. And suddenly, the person who depended on them feels like their life has collapsed. Not because they lost a human being, but because they lost what they were using as their emotional foundation. And it is not only people. Some people build their peace on success. They believe, when I achieve this goal, then I will be happy. They believe, when I have enough money, then I will finally feel safe. They believe, when I become respected, then I will finally feel confident. But the truth is, even success does not stay the same. You can win today and struggle tomorrow. You can feel proud today and still feel empty tomorrow. Because if your happiness is always connected to outside results, then your peace will always be unstable. Buddhism teaches that this world is like a river. It never stops flowing. You cannot hold the same water in your hands for long because it will keep slipping away. And when you understand this, you stop trying to control everything. You stop expecting life to remain perfect. You stop thinking that something outside you will stay forever and guarantee your happiness. Instead, you become wiser. You start building your life on what cannot be taken from you. And the only thing that truly cannot be taken from you is the peace you build inside your own heart. Inner peace is not something people give you. It is something you create. It is something you protect. It is something you train through awareness, patience, and self-control. Because when peace lives inside you, it doesn't matter if people come or go. It doesn't matter if situations change. It doesn't matter if life becomes difficult. You will still have yourself. You will still have your strength. You will still have your calm. This is why inner freedom is so powerful. It means you stop being controlled by outside events. You stop being a slave to people's behavior. You stop falling apart every time life surprises you. You become steady. You become strong. You become calm even in storms. And that is real power. So take this as your sign today. Stop building your happiness on things that can leave you. Stop putting your peace in someone else's hands. Stop tying your self-worth to attention, approval, or outcomes. Build your life on your own mind, your own awareness, and your own inner peace. Because when you become peaceful inside, life can change around you, but you will not break anymore. You will bend, you will learn, you will grow, but you will remain unshakable. 4. You don't find purpose. You remove what's blocking it. Most people spend years saying the same sentence again and again. I don't know my purpose. And because they don't know it, they start looking outside themselves like it is hiding somewhere in the world. They keep searching for the perfect job, the perfect routine, the perfect relationship, the perfect mindset, the perfect motivation. They watch videos, they ask people for advice, they compare their life to others, and they keep thinking that one day, suddenly, everything will become clear. But Buddhism teaches something much deeper and much more peaceful. It teaches that your purpose is not something you find like a lost object. Your purpose is already inside you. The problem is not that purpose is missing. The problem is that your mind is too noisy to hear it. Your purpose is buried, not gone. It is covered by distractions, fear, confusion, and emotional weight. Think about it like this. If you drop a diamond into muddy water, the diamond does not disappear. It is still there, but you cannot see it clearly because the water is dirty. Your purpose is the same. It is within you, but your mind has become full of mud of stress, mud of overthinking, mud of trauma, mud of pressure, mud of what people expect from you. And because the mind is heavy, you feel lost. Many people don't realize this, but the reason they feel purposeless is because they are living too far away from themselves. They are too busy trying to satisfy everyone. They are too busy proving their worth. They are too busy chasing attention. They are too busy holding relationships that drain them. They are too busy scrolling, talking, explaining, competing, and running. And when you are always running, you cannot hear the voice inside you that is quietly calling you back to the right path. Buddhism teaches that purpose becomes clear through stillness, not stillness only on the outside, but stillness inside the mind. Because the truth is, when the mind becomes quiet, you start to feel what is truly meant for you. You start to realize what gives you energy instead of taking it away. You start to notice what you enjoy without needing anyone to clap for you. You start to see what makes your heart feel alive, even if nobody understands it. That is where purpose lives. Not in loud excitement, not in pressure, not in trends, but in a deep inner knowing. And that is why the real question is not, how do I find my purpose? The real question is, what is blocking my purpose right now? Because most of the time, what blocks purpose is not lack of talent, it is lack of clarity. It is not lack of time, it is lack of focus. It is not laziness, it is emotional exhaustion. Your purpose gets blocked when you keep staying in places that drain you. It gets blocked when you keep giving your energy to people who only take. It gets blocked when you keep living in the past, replaying pain that already happened. It gets blocked when you keep worrying about the future so much that you forget to live today. It gets blocked when your mind is full of guilt, regret, or fear. And here is the part most people need to hear. Sometimes you are not confused, you are just distracted. Sometimes you are not lost, you are just surrounded by too many voices. Voices of family telling you what to do, voices of society telling you what success looks like. Voices of friends judging your choices, voices of social media making you feel behind. And when you hear too many voices, your own voice becomes silent. So this is your sign today. Stop thinking your purpose is far away. Stop thinking you need to become someone else first. You don't need a different life to have purpose. You need a clearer mind. You need to remove what blocks you, remove what drains you, remove what keeps you anxious. Remove what keeps you addicted to validation. Remove what keeps you trapped in cycles you already outgrew. Because when you start removing the noise, your purpose begins to rise naturally, and it rises not like a loud announcement, but like a quiet certainty. You will start waking up with more direction. You will start feeling less confused. You will start making decisions faster, because you will know what aligns with you and what does not. And that is the real goal, not to have a perfect life, but to live a life that feels true. Buddhism teaches that clarity is a form of freedom. When you know who you are, people cannot control you. When you know what matters to you, distractions lose power. When you know what your heart truly needs, you stop chasing things that only look good on the outside. So instead of asking, "Where is my purpose?" start asking, What am I holding on to that is blocking my peace? Because your purpose is not hiding from you. It has been waiting for you to return to yourself. And the moment you do, everything begins to make sense. 5. Stop chasing closure. Your peace is the closure. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck in pain for months, even years, is because they keep chasing closure. They keep replaying the same situation in their mind, hoping one day it will finally make sense. They keep asking themselves, why did they do that to me? Why did they change? Why did they leave like I meant nothing? What did I do wrong? And the more they think, the heavier they feel. Because the mind is trying to create an answer for something that may never have an answer. Buddhism teaches that this kind of suffering is not only caused by what happened, but by the attachment you still have to what happened. The pain is real, yes, but the deeper suffering comes from your mind refusing to let it end. Your heart is trying to move forward, but your thoughts keep pulling you back to the same moment, again and again, like a prison you revisit every day. Many people believe closure comes from the other person. They think closure means getting an apology. They think closure means getting an explanation. They think closure means hearing the truth, or hearing the words, "I'm sorry, I regret it," or "You didn't deserve that." And of course, it would feel good to hear those words, because it would make the wound feel recognized. It would make you feel like your pain mattered. It would make you feel like you weren't crazy for caring so deeply. But Buddhism teaches that depending on other people for closure is dangerous, because many people will never give it to you. Some people don't apologize, not because they were right, but because they are proud. Some people don't explain, not because they have a good reason, but because they don't want to face their own wrong actions. Some people move on without guilt, not because you didn't matter, but because they never had the depth to appreciate you. And when you realize this, you understand something painful but freeing. Not everyone has the emotional maturity to give you the closure you deserve. So what happens when you keep waiting? You stay stuck. You stay attached. You stay mentally tied to someone who may not even think about you anymore. You keep carrying the weight of their behavior while they live freely. You keep losing sleep, losing appetite, losing focus, losing energy while they continue their day like nothing happened. And that is not just sadness, that is suffering. This is why Buddhism teaches that the strongest closure is not the closure someone gives you. The strongest closure is the closure you create for yourself. It is the moment you stop needing their words to heal. It is the moment you stop needing them to admit they were wrong. It is the moment you stop needing them to understand your heart. Because when you depend on someone else to complete your healing, you give them control over your peace. And that control becomes a chain that keeps you emotionally connected to what hurt you. It keeps you checking their social media. It keeps you thinking about what they are doing. It keeps you remembering old conversations. It keeps you hoping for a message that might never come. It keeps you stuck in what if, and maybe, and if only. But Buddhism teaches that peace comes when you stop living in those questions. Peace comes when you accept that some things will never be explained. Peace comes when you accept that some people will never understand what they did. Peace comes when you accept that the lesson was not meant to be comfortable, it was meant to wake you up. Sometimes the closure is simply this: they showed you who they are, and that is enough. They showed you their limits, they showed you their loyalty, they showed you their truth, and the more you keep begging for answers, the more you delay your healing. So your sign today is this: let it end without closure from them. Let it end without an apology. Let it end without revenge. Let it end without one last conversation. Not because you don't deserve better, but because you deserve peace now. You deserve to breathe again. You deserve to stop carrying something that is breaking you slowly. Real closure is when you stop reopening the wound, Real closure is when you stop feeding the memory with your attention. Real closure is when you stop explaining your value to people who already decided not to respect it. Your peace is the closure. Your silence is the closure. Your decision to move forward is the closure. Because the truth is, the moment you stop chasing closure, you stop chasing pain. And the moment you stop chasing pain, you finally start walking toward freedom. 6. The freedom you want comes when you stop trying to control life. One of the biggest reasons people suffer every single day is because they are constantly trying to control life. They want life to go exactly the way they planned. They want people to behave the way they expected. They want the future to be safe, predictable, and stable. They want everything to make sense. And when life doesn't follow their plan, their mind begins to panic. They overthink. They worry. They get angry. They become anxious. They lose peace. Buddhism teaches that the root of this pain is not life itself. The root of this pain is your attachment to control, because control creates the illusion that if you hold tightly enough, nothing will change. But life is not designed to be controlled. Life is designed to move. Life is designed to change. Life is designed to surprise you, test you, and push you to grow. Think about how many times you suffered, not because something bad happened, but because something happened that you didn't expect. You expected someone to stay, but they left. You expected someone to care, but they ignored you. You expected things to work out, but they failed. You expected progress, but you faced delay. And suddenly, your mind becomes heavy because you were holding on to an outcome that life did not promise you. This is why Buddhism teaches that peace does not come from controlling life. Peace comes from understanding life. It comes from accepting reality as it is, not as you want it to be. Because the more you resist reality, the more pain you create inside yourself. Many people think control means strength. They think, if I control everything, I will be safe. But in truth, control is often fear wearing a mask. It is fear of being disappointed, fear of being hurt again, fear of losing, fear of failure, fear of uncertainty. And because the mind wants to avoid pain, it tries to control everything. It tries to predict everything. It tries to plan every detail. But what happens when you live like that? You never rest. Even in good moments, your mind is not relaxed. Even when you are happy, you are still thinking, what if it ends? Even when life is calm, your mind is still looking for danger. That is not a peaceful life. That is a life of constant mental pressure. Buddhism teaches that life will always have uncertainty, but your mind does not need to be uncertain. Life will always have change, but your heart does not need to be unstable. Life will always have challenges, but your inner world can still remain calm. And that is real freedom. Because freedom is not when life becomes perfect. Freedom is when your mind becomes strong enough to stay peaceful even when life is not perfect. Freedom is when you stop needing everything to go right in order to feel okay. Freedom is when you stop depending on outcomes to decide your mood. And this is where Buddhism gives you a powerful shift. It teaches that the only thing you truly have control over is your mind. You cannot control what people do. You cannot control how long they stay. You cannot control what tomorrow brings. But you can control your response. You can control your attitude. You can control the meaning you give to everything. When you understand this, you stop feeling like life is attacking you. You stop feeling like you are cursed. You stop feeling like everything is against you. Instead, you start seeing that life is teaching you, shaping you, and making you stronger. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start saying, "What is this trying to teach me?" You stop saying, "I can't handle this," and you start saying, "I will become stronger through this." You stop trying to control people's love, and you start protecting your peace. This is your sign that you don't need to control everything anymore. You don't need to chase certainty in a world that will never be fully certain. You don't need to hold people tightly, because the ones meant for you will stay without force. You don't need to fear change, because change is often what saves you. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes peaceful when it learns to trust life. Not blindly, not foolishly, but wisely. Trusting that whatever leaves was not meant to stay. Trusting that whatever delays you was not meant to be rushed. Trusting that whatever breaks you was meant to open you. Trusting that even pain has a purpose, even struggle has meaning, and even loss can become liberation. So the freedom you want is not outside of you, it is inside of you. It comes when you stop trying to control life and you start controlling your mind. It comes when you stop resisting reality and you start flowing with it. It comes when you stop gripping life so tightly and you finally loosen your hands. Because when you loosen your grip, you stop suffering. And when you stop suffering, you finally start living. 7. This is your sign that you were never meant to live small. If you are watching this right now, I want you to listen with your full heart, because this lesson is not just a nice message, it is a wake-up call. It is the kind of truth that can change the direction of your life if you take it seriously. This is your sign that you were never meant to live small. You were never meant to shrink your soul just to fit into places that cannot hold your greatness. You were never meant to beg for love, beg for attention, beg for respect, and beg for space in people's lives. You were never meant to live your days feeling guilty for wanting more, feeling ashamed for dreaming bigger, and feeling afraid of becoming the person you were truly born to become. Most people don't realize this, but living small is one of the biggest silent tragedies in the world. Because living small doesn't always look like failure on the outside. Sometimes living small looks like a normal life. It looks like smiling, going to work, meeting people, posting online, and pretending everything is okay. But inside, there is a quiet sadness, a quiet emptiness, and a quiet feeling of being trapped. It is the feeling of knowing that you are meant for something deeper, but you keep delaying it. You keep postponing it. You keep waiting for the right time. You keep telling yourself you will change one day. You keep telling yourself you will start later. And slowly, later becomes years. Buddhism teaches that the most dangerous prison is not a prison made of walls. It is a prison made of fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being alone. Fear of failing. Fear of disappointing people. Fear of leaving comfort. Fear of losing approval. And because of fear, you stay in places that drain you. You stay around people who keep you weak. You stay stuck in habits that keep you numb. You stay addicted to validation, addicted to attention, addicted to being chosen. You stay in the same cycle, not because you love it, but because you are scared of what happens if you finally step into your power. And the truth is, the moment you start growing, not everyone will clap for you. Some people will get quiet. Some people will pull away. Some people will start acting strange. Some people will begin to criticize you. Some people will tell you that you changed, as if changing is a bad thing. But Buddhism teaches that growth will always make the wrong people uncomfortable, because when you elevate yourself, it reminds them of what they are avoiding in their own life. Your discipline will trigger their laziness. Your confidence will trigger their insecurity. Your silence will trigger their need for control. Your boundaries will trigger their selfishness. And that is why living small feels safe. Because when you live small, nobody feels threatened. When you live small, you are easy to control. When you live small, you are predictable. When you live small, you are not challenging anyone's energy. But you were not born to be controlled. You were not born to be a character in someone else's story. You were not born to live your life according to people's expectations. Buddhism teaches that your life is precious and it is temporary. This moment you are in right now will never come again. The person you are today will never exist again in the same way. Time is moving, whether you use it or waste it, whether you grow or stay stuck. And when you fully understand this, you stop playing with your life. You stop treating your days like they are unlimited. You stop waiting for permission to become who you truly are. Living small is often connected to attachment. Attachment to the past, attachment to comfort, attachment to what people think, attachment to being accepted, attachment to a version of yourself that no longer fits you. And Buddhism teaches that attachment creates suffering because it makes you hold on to what is not meant to stay. You hold on to old relationships that no longer respect you. You hold on to old habits that no longer benefit you. You hold on to old identities that no longer represent you. You hold on to old pain that already happened, but you keep giving it power over your present. And that is why you feel stuck, not because you are weak, but because your hands are full. You cannot move forward when you keep holding on to things that are pulling you backward. You cannot rise when you keep sitting in the same emotional weight. You cannot feel inner freedom when you keep choosing what is familiar instead of what is right. This is your sign to let go of what makes you small. Let go of the people who only love you when you are useful. Let go of the friendships that only exist when you are entertaining them. Let go of the relationships that keep you anxious and insecure. Let go of the version of yourself that always tries to please. Let go of the voice in your head that keeps saying, "You are not enough." Let go of the addiction to being liked. Let go of the need to explain yourself to everyone. Because the more you keep trying to prove yourself, the more you delay your destiny. And the more you keep seeking approval, the more you lose yourself. Many people don't understand this, but approval is one of the biggest drugs in the world. When people approve of you, you feel strong. When they clap for you, you feel confident. When they praise you, you feel valuable. But the moment they stop, your mood drops, your confidence collapses, your heart feels empty. And that is not confidence, that is dependence. That is not self-love, that is emotional slavery. Buddhism teaches that the strongest person is not the one who receives the most love. The strongest person is the one who can remain peaceful even when they receive nothing. Even when people forget them, even when nobody notices them, even when nobody praises them, because their worth is not coming from outside, it is coming from within. Inner freedom begins when you stop letting the world decide who you are. When your identity depends on people's opinions, you will always be changing yourself to stay safe. But when your identity depends on your own awareness, you become stable. You stop chasing, you stop begging, you stop pretending, and that is when your life becomes powerful. But let me tell you something important. Rising in life does not always look dramatic. Sometimes your biggest glow-up is silent. Sometimes your biggest success is invisible at first. Sometimes your biggest transformation is not a new car or a new house. Sometimes it is a new mindset. Sometimes it is waking up with peace. Sometimes it is no longer being triggered by small things. Sometimes it is no longer reacting emotionally to people who used to control you. Sometimes it is finally being able to sit alone and feel calm. And Buddhism teaches that these quiet changes are the real success, because they mean you are no longer controlled by suffering. They mean you are no longer trapped by attachment. They mean you are no longer a slave to your emotions. They mean you are becoming free. The truth is, many people don't live small because they want to. They live small because they don't believe they deserve more. They don't believe they deserve peace. They don't believe they deserve happiness. They don't believe they deserve respect. They don't believe they deserve a better life. So they accept less. They settle. They tolerate disrespect. They tolerate being ignored. They tolerate being undervalued. They tolerate people who treat them like an option. But Buddhism teaches that you suffer not because life is unfair. You suffer because you keep accepting what is not meant for you. You suffer because you keep abandoning yourself to keep others close. You suffer because you keep shrinking, and then you wonder why your soul feels suffocated. This is your sign to stop tolerating what hurts you. Stop normalizing disrespect. Stop normalizing being treated like you are not important. Stop normalizing people only coming to you when they need something. Stop normalizing being the one who always tries harder. Stop normalizing being the one who always forgives while your heart keeps bleeding. You were not born to live as someone's backup plan. You were not born to live in emotional hunger. You were not born to chase love like a starving person. You were born to grow into a person who loves themselves so deeply that they no longer accept half-love from anyone. And yes, this will make you lonely for a while, because the moment you stop entertaining people, some will leave. The moment you stop doing too much, some will disappear. The moment you stop being available for nonsense, some will call you selfish. But Buddhism teaches that loneliness is not a punishment. Loneliness is purification. Loneliness is the season where you return to yourself. Loneliness is the season where you see clearly. Loneliness is the season where you build your strength. Most people are scared of being alone because when they are alone, they have to face themselves. They have to face their thoughts, their fears, their wounds, and the truth of their life. That is why they stay busy, stay distracted, stay surrounded by noise. But your sign today is that you are ready to face yourself. You are ready to heal. You are ready to grow. You are ready to stop running. And when you stop running, you start awakening. You start becoming aware. You start understanding your patterns. You start understanding what triggers you. You start understanding why you attach so easily. You start understanding why you chase people who don't choose you. You start understanding why you keep falling into the same pain. And once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. Awareness changes everything. Buddhism teaches that awakening is the real purpose of life. Not being perfect, not being famous, not being rich, not being praised. The real purpose is to awaken from suffering, to awaken from attachment, to awaken from delusion, to awaken from the constant chasing that keeps your heart restless. And when you awaken, you start living differently. You stop needing people to validate you. You stop needing everyone to understand you. You stop needing closure from people who hurt you. You stop trying to force life to go your way. You become calm. You become grounded. You become powerful. Your sign today is that you are not here to live a life of emotional pain. You are not here to constantly be disappointed by people. You are not here to keep repeating the same toxic cycle. You are here to build inner freedom. And inner freedom looks like this. You can be alone and still feel complete. You can be disliked and still respect yourself. You can be misunderstood and still stay calm. You can lose something and still trust life. You can be in chaos and still carry peace. You can be surrounded by noise and still hear your own truth. This is what it means to stop living small. It means you stop living from fear and you start living from awareness. It means you stop living to be accepted and you start living to be aligned. It means you stop living to prove your worth and you start living because you already know your worth. And here is the most beautiful part. When you stop living small, you don't need to fight the world. You don't need to scream. You don't need to prove anything. Your energy becomes quiet but strong. Your presence becomes calm but powerful. Your life becomes simple but meaningful, and people will feel it. They will feel that something about you changed. They will feel that you are no longer easy to manipulate. They will feel that you are no longer desperate. They will feel that you are no longer chasing. Because when you detach from needing the world, You gain the world inside your own heart. And that is real victory. So take this as your sign. Stop shrinking, stop waiting, stop begging, stop delaying your growth. Stop accepting less than you deserve. Stop abandoning yourself to keep others comfortable. Let people misunderstand you. Let people leave. Let people talk. Let people judge. Because your purpose is bigger than their opinions. Your soul was not created to stay trapped. Your soul was created to awaken. And if nobody has told you this clearly before, let me tell you right now, you are not behind. You are not weak. You are not broken beyond repair. You are simply waking up. Your awareness is growing. Your heart is learning. Your spirit is rising. This is your sign that your next level is not outside of you. It is within you. And you don't need permission to begin. You only need courage to let go of what makes you small. You only need discipline to stay consistent. You only need awareness to choose peace over chaos. So step into your freedom. Step into your purpose. Step into your healing. Step into your power. Because you were never meant to live small, you were meant to live free. 8. Your life becomes powerful when you stop identifying with your pain. If you want to truly understand freedom, then you need to understand this lesson deeply, because this is one of the biggest reasons people stay trapped for years without realizing it. Your life becomes powerful the day you stop identifying with your pain. Not the day you heal completely, not the day everything becomes perfect, but the day you stop making your pain your identity. Because many people don't just experience pain, they become it. They don't just go through a hard time, they start believing they are a broken person forever. They don't just face rejection, they start believing they are unlovable. They don't just get betrayed, they start believing nobody can ever be trusted. They don't just fail once, they start believing they are a failure. And that is where suffering becomes dangerous, because the pain is no longer an experience, it becomes the story of who you are. Buddhism teaches that pain is real, but suffering is optional. This does not mean you can ignore pain or pretend you are fine. It means that pain will come in life, but you don't have to attach your identity to it. You don't have to carry it like a name tag. You don't have to wake up every day and remind yourself of what hurt you, as if the pain deserves a permanent place in your mind. Because the truth is, when you keep identifying with your pain, you keep reliving it, you keep feeding it, you keep giving it energy. Many people don't realize they are emotionally stuck because their mind keeps repeating the same sentences. I got hurt. I was betrayed. I was treated unfairly. People ruined me. Life destroyed me. And yes, what happened might be true, but the problem is that the more you repeat these stories, the more your mind starts to live inside them. Your mind stops living in the present, and it starts living in the memory. Even if your life is calm right now, your mind will still feel chaos. Even if good things are happening, your heart will still feel fear. Even if you are safe, you still feel like you are in danger, because you never left the past emotionally. This is why Buddhism teaches awareness. Awareness is the power to notice what your mind is doing without becoming trapped inside it. Awareness is the ability to observe your emotions instead of becoming your emotions. Because when you are not aware, your mind controls you, your anger controls you, your sadness controls you, your fear controls you, your anxiety controls you. But when you become aware, you realize something life-changing. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the one who is watching them. Imagine your mind like a sky and your emotions like clouds. Clouds can come and go. Sometimes they are dark. Sometimes they are heavy. Sometimes they cover everything. But no matter what kind of clouds appear, the sky remains the sky. Buddhism teaches that your true self is like the sky, not the clouds. Your true self is the awareness that stays present even when emotions rise and fall. And the moment you realize this, you stop feeling like your pain owns you. Many people hold on to pain because it feels familiar. It becomes a habit. It becomes comfort. It becomes something they know how to survive with. And strangely, people even start protecting their pain. They say things like, "This pain made me who I am." They say things like, "If I let go, it means what happened didn't matter." They say things like, "If I forgive, it means they won." But Buddhism teaches that letting go is not about denying what happened, it is about refusing to suffer forever because of it. Letting go is not weakness, it is intelligence. Letting go is not losing, it is freedom. Because when you hold on to pain, you don't punish the person who hurt you, you punish yourself. When you hold on to pain, you don't change the past, you only destroy your present. When you hold on to pain, you don't heal, you simply delay healing. You stay emotionally tied to someone who may not even remember what they did to you. You stay connected to the memory of a moment that already ended, and your life becomes smaller because you start living from fear instead of from peace. Buddhism teaches that attachment is the root of suffering, and one of the deepest attachments is attachment to your identity. The identity of being the one who was hurt, the identity of being the one who suffered, the identity of being the one who always gets disappointed, the identity of being the victim of life. And listen carefully, this does not mean your pain was not real. Your pain was real, your tears were real, your struggle was real. But you were never meant to live your whole life as the person who suffered once. You were meant to grow beyond it. Your sign today is this: you are not your trauma, you are not your past, and you are not your pain. You are the one who survived it, and surviving means you have the power to evolve. Your heart is not here to stay wounded forever. Your mind is not here to stay broken forever. Your spirit is not here to stay trapped forever. You are here to transform. But transformation requires something that most people avoid, and that is facing pain without becoming it. It is learning to sit with discomfort without letting it control you. It is learning to feel sadness without drowning in it. It is learning to remember the past without reliving it. Buddhism teaches that emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, and they fall. But when you attach to them, you keep them alive. When you resist them, you make them stronger. The real peace comes when you observe them, accept them, and let them pass naturally. A lot of people try to heal by running away. They distract themselves with entertainment. They distract themselves with social media. They distract themselves with addictions. They distract themselves with people. But pain does not disappear by distraction. Pain disappears by awareness, because awareness is the light that dissolves darkness. When you become aware, you start noticing patterns. You notice that certain triggers make you angry. You notice that certain memories make your chest tight. You notice that certain people bring out old wounds. And instead of reacting blindly, you start responding with wisdom. You start telling yourself, this is a trigger, not a danger. You start telling yourself, this is a memory, not reality. You start telling yourself, this is fear, not truth. And this is powerful, because once you see clearly, you stop being controlled. This is exactly why some people stay stuck even after years. They keep thinking healing means forgetting. But Buddhism teaches healing is not forgetting. Healing is remembering without suffering. Healing is not pretending the wound never existed. Healing is being able to look at it without bleeding again. Healing is not erasing your past. Healing is becoming so strong that your past no longer controls your present. And here is the next level of this lesson. Your pain has been teaching you something, but most people never listen to the lesson, they only listen to the sadness. Pain is often a message. Sometimes pain is showing you what you tolerated for too long. Sometimes pain is showing you where your boundaries were weak. Sometimes pain is showing you what kind of love you were accepting. Sometimes pain is showing you what you need to change inside yourself, not because you deserved the hurt, but because you deserve growth. Buddhism teaches that life does not break you to destroy you. Life breaks you to free you. Life removes things to teach you not to depend on them. Life disappoints you to teach you not to attach your happiness to people. Life makes you fall so you can learn how to rise with wisdom. But the moment you identify with pain, you miss the purpose, you miss the growth, you miss the awakening. You stay stuck in the same emotional prison, not because the door is locked, but because your mind keeps choosing the same story. So your sign today is to change the story. Instead of saying, "I am broken," say, "I am healing." Instead of saying, "I am unlucky," say, "I am learning." Instead of saying, "People ruined me," say, "People revealed what I need to protect." Instead of saying, "My life is over," say, "My life is being rebuilt." Because language is powerful, the story you repeat becomes the reality you feel. This lesson is not telling you to ignore pain. It is telling you to stop worshipping it. It is telling you to stop letting pain become your personality. It is telling you to stop letting suffering become your comfort zone, because your life is bigger than your wounds. And when you stop identifying with pain, something beautiful happens. You become lighter. You start feeling peace again. You start enjoying small things again. You start trusting life again. You start seeing opportunities again. You start smiling naturally again. And most importantly, you stop being scared of feeling. Because many people become emotionally numb after pain. They say, "I don't want to feel anything anymore." But Buddhism teaches that numbness is not strength. Numbness is fear. Real strength is being able to feel deeply without being destroyed by feelings. Real strength is being able to love again without becoming desperate. Real strength is being able to trust again without becoming blind. Real strength is being able to live fully, even after you suffered. This is your purpose, not to become someone who never gets hurt, but to become someone who cannot be destroyed by pain. Someone who can go through life's storms and still keep their inner peace. Someone who can lose things and still stay grounded. Someone who can face rejection and still know their worth. Someone who can experience hardship and still remain kind. That is the highest form of freedom. So take this as your sign today. Stop carrying pain like it is your name. Stop introducing yourself to life through your wounds. Stop letting the past decide your future. Your pain happened, but it is not who you are. Your heartbreak happened, but it is not your identity. Your struggle happened, but it is not your destiny. Your destiny is bigger. Your purpose is deeper. Your spirit is stronger. You are not the person who got hurt. You are the person who is waking up. And when you wake up, you don't just survive life. You master it. You don't just exist. You transform. You don't just heal. You evolve. Because your life becomes powerful when you stop identifying with your pain and you start identifying with your awareness, your peace, and your inner freedom. 9. Inner freedom begins when you stop seeking validation and start living with truth. If you want to understand why so many people feel tired inside, even when nothing big is happening in their life, then you need to understand this lesson. Because one of the biggest hidden reasons people suffer is not because life is hard, but because they are constantly seeking validation. They are constantly looking for signs from people that they are enough. They are constantly hoping someone will notice them, choose them, appreciate them, or approve of them. And when they don't get that validation, their mood drops, their confidence collapses, and their heart feels heavy for no clear reason. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes a prison when it depends on outside approval. Because the moment your happiness depends on someone else's opinion, you give them control over your peace. That is why some people feel good only when they get compliments, and they feel low when they get ignored. They feel motivated only when people support them, and they feel lost when nobody claps for them. They feel valuable only when they are needed, and they feel useless when they are alone. This is not peace. This is emotional slavery. And most people don't even realize it is happening, because seeking validation looks normal in society. Society teaches you to chase attention. Society teaches you to chase likes, followers, respect, status, and approval. Society teaches you to always be seen, always be admired, always be praised. And slowly, people forget how to live for themselves. They forget how to be quiet. They forget how to be present. They forget how to feel complete without being noticed. Buddhism teaches that real freedom begins when you stop needing the world to confirm your worth. Because the world is unstable, people are unstable, their opinions change quickly. Today they love you, tomorrow they criticize you. Today they support you, tomorrow they disappear. Today they praise you, tomorrow they forget you. And if your confidence depends on their words, your confidence will always be unstable. This is why Buddhism teaches detachment from praise and detachment from criticism. Not because you should ignore everyone, but because you should not let your identity be built on what people say. When you attach to praise, you will suffer when praise is gone. When you attach to attention, you will suffer when attention is gone. When you attach to being liked, you will suffer when someone dislikes you. And since you cannot control how people feel about you, you will keep suffering in cycles. Now listen carefully. Validation itself is not evil. It feels good when someone appreciates you. It feels good when someone notices your effort. It feels good when someone supports you. The problem begins when you start needing it to function. The problem begins when you start chasing it like your life depends on it. Because then you stop living your truth, and you start living what is acceptable. You stop living what is aligned, and you start living what gets approval. And that is the moment your soul becomes tired, because deep inside your spirit knows when you are not being real. Your heart knows when you are forcing yourself to fit into places that are not meant for you. Your mind knows when you are pretending just to be loved, and that pretending becomes heavy. Many people don't realize how much energy they waste trying to be accepted. They waste energy explaining themselves. They waste energy trying to prove they are good enough. They waste energy overthinking what people think. They waste energy trying to impress people who are not even important in their life. They waste energy chasing respect from people who don't even respect themselves. And then they wonder why they feel drained. They wonder why they feel disconnected. They wonder why they feel lost. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes peaceful when it stops performing. The mind becomes peaceful when it stops seeking approval and starts seeking truth. Because truth is light. Truth is clarity. Truth is alignment. Living with truth means you stop lying to yourself. It means you stop saying, "I'm okay," when you are not okay. It means you stop accepting disrespect just to keep someone close. It means you stop pretending you enjoy things you don't enjoy. It means you stop staying in places that drain you. It means you stop shrinking yourself to avoid conflict. It means you stop hiding your real personality just because you fear being judged. Living with truth means you finally accept yourself fully. You accept your strengths. You accept your flaws. You accept your emotions. You accept your desires. You accept your past. You accept your growth. And when you accept yourself, you stop chasing external validation because you already gave yourself the validation you were begging for from others. This is why Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes free when it becomes aware. Awareness shows you your patterns. Awareness shows you your addictions. Awareness shows you why you keep needing attention. Awareness shows you why you fear being alone. Awareness shows you why you get hurt so easily. Awareness shows you why criticism destroys you. Awareness shows you why rejection feels like death. And when you become aware, you stop being controlled. You start seeing the truth behind your suffering. You start realizing that the reason rejection hurts is not because you lost a person, but because you attached your worth to their opinion. You start realizing that the reason being ignored hurts is not because you are worthless, but because you trained your mind to believe attention equals value. You start realizing that the reason you overthink is not because you are weak, but because you are afraid of losing approval. So your sign today is to stop living for validation and start living for peace. Stop chasing attention and start building awareness. Stop craving praise and start practicing self-respect. Stop begging to be loved and start loving yourself properly. Because inner freedom begins when you become enough for yourself. And here is the part most people don't understand. When you stop seeking validation, you don't become less social. You don't become angry. You don't become cold. You actually become more powerful because you stop needing to control how others see you. You stop trying to manipulate people into liking you. You stop changing your personality depending on who you are with. You stop losing yourself in the presence of others. You become stable. You become real. You become peaceful. And that kind of energy is rare. That kind of person is unstoppable, because the world can only control you if you need something from it. The world can only manipulate you if you are desperate. People can only hurt you deeply if you keep giving them the authority to decide your worth. But when you stop seeking validation, criticism becomes lighter. You still feel it, but it doesn't destroy you. You still notice it, but it doesn't control you. You still hear people's opinions, but you don't let those opinions decide your life. This is why Buddhism teaches that you should not be moved by praise or blame. Praise and blame are like wind. They come and go. If you let them control you, you will never be stable. You will always be reacting to the outside world. And a life of reacting is a life without freedom. Inner freedom means you respond, not react. It means you choose your life with intention, not with fear. It means you are guided by your values, not by people's opinions. It means you are living from your truth, not from your insecurity. So how do you actually practice this in daily life? Buddhism teaches simple but powerful steps. First, you notice when you are craving validation. You notice when you feel anxious because someone didn't reply. You notice when you feel insecure because someone didn't praise you. You notice when you feel low because you were ignored. Then, instead of reacting emotionally, you pause, you breathe. And you remind yourself, my worth is not decided by their attention. Second, you train yourself to enjoy solitude. Because the person who can be alone without feeling empty is a person who is free. When you are comfortable with yourself, you stop chasing company. You stop chasing love. You stop chasing friendships that drain you. You stop settling. You become selective. Third, you live with honesty. You stop pretending. You stop forcing yourself to fit. You stop saying yes when you want to say no. You stop doing things to impress. You start doing things because they align with your soul. Fourth, you become less attached to outcomes, because many people seek validation through results. They think, if I succeed, then I'll be respected. They think, if I get attention, then I'll be loved. But Buddhism teaches that peace does not come from outcomes. Peace comes from right effort and right intention. You focus on doing your best, not on being praised. And slowly, as you practice this, you start feeling something new. You start feeling calm. You start feeling grounded. You start feeling powerful. Not because life became easy, but because your mind became stronger. This is your sign today that you don't need everyone to like you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need everyone to approve of you. You only need to live with truth. Because when you live with truth, your life becomes simple. You stop overthinking, you stop performing, you stop chasing, you stop begging, and you finally start breathing again. So remember this deeply. The world will always have opinions. People will always talk. Some will praise you, some will doubt you, some will support you, some will ignore you. But none of that should control your inner world. Your inner world is your responsibility. And the moment you stop seeking validation and start living with truth, you become free. You become calm. You become unshakable. That is inner freedom, and that is your purpose. 10. The highest purpose is to become unshakable, calm, and free no matter what happens. If you want to understand the deepest meaning of purpose, then you have to go beyond the surface definition that most people believe in. Because most people think purpose means having a big goal, having a strong career, becoming rich, becoming famous, building a name, or achieving something that makes others respect you. And yes, goals can be good, success can be good, hard work can be good. But Buddhism teaches something much deeper, something that can completely change the way you see life. It teaches that the highest purpose is not what you achieve outside, it is who you become inside. Because what is the point of reaching success if your mind is still anxious? What is the point of getting attention if your heart still feels empty? What is the point of having everything if you are still afraid, still insecure, still overthinking, still emotionally dependent, still easily triggered, and still suffering inside? That is not real purpose. That is just decoration on top of pain. Buddhism teaches that true purpose is inner liberation. The purpose of life is to become unshakable, calm, and free no matter what happens around you, because life will always change. People will always disappoint you sometimes. Loss will eventually come, challenges will happen, pain will visit, and if your mind is weak, life will control you. But if your mind becomes strong and peaceful, then life can shake the world around you, but it cannot shake you inside. This is why inner strength is the greatest achievement a human can reach, because inner strength is permanent. Money can be lost, people can leave, situations can change, your body can change. But inner strength, inner peace, and inner awareness are treasures that nobody can steal from you. Most people don't realize that the real reason they suffer is because they are too easily shaken. Small things ruin their mood. Small disrespect destroys their confidence. A delay makes them panic. A rejection makes them feel worthless. A criticism makes them angry. A betrayal makes them hate themselves. An argument makes them feel like life is falling apart. This is not because they are weak people, it is because they have not trained their mind. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a wild animal when you do not train it. It jumps from fear to fear. It runs from memory to memory. It gets addicted to negativity. It gets attached to pleasure. It becomes restless, impatient, and emotional. And when you live with an untrained mind, life becomes suffering, because every situation controls you. You become a person who is always reacting, always overthinking, always tired. But Buddhism teaches that your highest purpose is to take back control of your inner world, not to control life, but to control yourself, not to force outcomes, but to master your response, not to stop problems from coming, but to stop problems from destroying your peace. Because life is not about never facing storms. Life is about becoming the kind of person who can walk through storms without losing their soul. The highest purpose is to become calm, not because life is calm, but because you are calm. Calmness is not weakness. Calmness is power. Calmness means you are no longer controlled by anger. Calmness means you are no longer controlled by impulsive emotions. Calmness means you are no longer controlled by fear of the future. Calmness means you are no longer controlled by pain from the past. Calmness means you are present, grounded, and stable inside. And this stability changes everything. When you become calm, you start thinking clearly. You start making better decisions. You stop ruining your own life with emotional reactions. You stop destroying relationships because of insecurity. You stop self-sabotaging because of fear. You stop delaying your growth because of doubt. You start moving with wisdom instead of impulse. Many people have dreams, but they never reach them because their mind is not stable. They start strong, then they get distracted. They feel motivated, then they feel lazy. They want peace, then they chase drama. They want growth, then they return to old habits. They want freedom, then they fall back into attachment. Their emotions control their discipline. Their moods decide their consistency. And because of this, life becomes a cycle of starting and stopping. But the person with purpose is the person who becomes unshakable, the person who remains steady in every season, the person who continues even when they don't feel like it, the person who stays peaceful even when they are not understood, the person who keeps growing even when people doubt them, the person who stays calm even when life becomes uncertain. Buddhism teaches that being unshakable does not mean you don't feel pain. It means pain does not control you. It does not mean you don't cry. It means your tears do not make you weak. It does not mean you don't get hurt. It means you heal without becoming bitter. It means you stay kind without becoming foolish. It means you stay strong without becoming cold. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people fail. They think being strong means being hard. They think being strong means being aggressive. They think being strong means showing no emotion. But Buddhism teaches that real strength is soft, real strength is calm, real strength is controlled. Real strength is when you can be angry and still choose peace. Real strength is when you can be hurt and still choose dignity. Real strength is when you can be rejected and still choose self-respect. Real strength is when you can be lonely and still choose growth. This is why monks are powerful, not because they fight people, but because they fight their own mind. Not because they control the world, but because they control their desires, their cravings, their ego, and their attachments. And you may not be a monk, but you can still build the same inner strength. You can build a mind that does not collapse from small things. You can build a heart that does not break from every disappointment. You can build a peace that does not depend on someone's presence. You can build confidence that does not depend on praise. Your highest purpose is to become free from emotional dependence, free from the need to be chosen, free from the need to be noticed, free from the need to prove yourself, free from the need to explain yourself, free from the need to control everything, free from the need to hold people who don't want to stay, free from the addiction to validation, free from the fear of being alone. Because when you are free from these things, you stop suffering, and when suffering ends, life begins. Buddhism teaches that most suffering is created in the mind, not in the world. Two people can face the same situation. One becomes depressed, the other becomes stronger. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. One becomes angry, the other stays calm. What is the difference? The difference is the mind. The mind is everything. So the highest purpose is to train your mind, to become aware of your thoughts, to become aware of your emotions, to become aware of your attachments. Because when you become aware, you stop being controlled by them. You stop being controlled by anger because you see it rising before it explodes. You stop being controlled by anxiety because you recognize it as fear of the future, not reality. You stop being controlled by sadness because you understand it is a wave that will pass. You stop being controlled by your ego because you see how it wants attention and recognition. And as you train your mind, you begin to feel inner freedom. Inner freedom means you don't fear silence anymore. You don't fear being alone anymore. You don't fear losing people anymore because you know how to stand on your own. Inner freedom means you can enjoy life without clinging to it. You can love people without needing them. You can succeed without becoming arrogant. You can lose without collapsing. This is why Buddhism teaches non-attachment. Not because you should live without love, but because you should live without clinging. Clinging is what creates pain. When you cling to people, you fear losing them. When you cling to outcomes, you fear failure. When you cling to comfort, you fear discomfort. When you cling to control, you fear uncertainty. And fear becomes suffering. But when you become detached, you become peaceful. You stop fearing life. You stop fearing change. You stop fearing endings. You stop fearing rejection. You stop fearing loneliness. You stop fearing the unknown because you start trusting yourself. You start trusting your ability to handle life. And when you trust yourself, you become unshakable. Now let's talk about the practical side, because purpose is not only a beautiful idea, it is a lifestyle. Being calm and unshakable is something you practice daily. Buddhism teaches that you become powerful through discipline, through awareness, through repeated training. You practice calm by pausing before reacting. You practice calm by watching your thoughts instead of obeying them. You practice calm by not speaking when you are emotional. You practice calm by choosing silence over arguing with ignorant people. You practice calm by controlling your desires instead of letting your desires control you. You practice calm by letting things pass instead of clinging. And slowly, you become a different person. You become the type of person who is not easily offended. You become the type of person who is not easily manipulated. You become the type of person who cannot be controlled with attention and neglect. You become the type of person who does not lose their worth when they are ignored. You become the type of person who does not chase people who don't choose them. Your energy changes. Your aura changes. Your presence changes. And people will notice. They will notice you don't argue like before. They will notice you don't react like before. They will notice you don't beg like before. They will notice you don't chase like before. They will notice you became calm. And when you become calm, you become powerful. Because the calm person is dangerous, not in a harmful way, but in a spiritual way. Dangerous because you cannot be controlled. Dangerous because you cannot be triggered easily. Dangerous because you don't fall into drama. Dangerous because you don't give your energy away. Dangerous because you are stable. Most people are controlled by emotions, and that is why their life stays unstable. They react, they regret, they repeat. They get angry, they destroy relationships, then they apologize. They get sad, they isolate, then they return. They get excited, they start goals, then they quit. Their emotions decide their direction. But your purpose is to become someone whose direction is decided by wisdom. This is why Buddhism teaches right view, right intention, right speech, right action. It teaches you to live with awareness, to live with discipline, to live with balance. Because when you live this way, you stop suffering unnecessarily. You stop creating your own problems. And this is your sign today. Your purpose is not just to survive. Your purpose is not just to exist. Your purpose is not just to get through the day. Your purpose is to become the strongest version of yourself, mentally and spiritually. Your purpose is to become unshakable. Because when you are unshakable, life becomes easier. Not because life gives you less challenges, but because challenges stop destroying you. And here is the final truth. Life will test you. People will disappoint you. Some will betray you. some will leave, plans will fail, dreams will be delayed. You will face seasons of loneliness. You will face moments of fear. You will face moments where you question everything. But those moments are not there to break you. Those moments are there to build you. Buddhism teaches that struggle is a teacher, pain is a teacher, loss is a teacher, silence is a teacher. Loneliness is a teacher. If you stop resisting these teachers, you stop suffering. Because the moment you accept life as it is, and you focus on mastering yourself, you reach the highest purpose. You become calm in chaos. You become peaceful in uncertainty. You become strong in hardship. You become wise through pain. You become free through detachment. And that is what you were born for. Not to impress people, not to chase validation, not to beg for love, not to stay trapped in attachment. You were born to awaken. You were born to be free. That is the highest purpose. 11. When you let go of who you were, you finally become who you were meant to be. There is a moment in life that almost nobody talks about, but everyone eventually experiences. It is the moment when you realize that the old version of you cannot take you into the new life you want. The old habits, the old mindset, the old attachments, the old fears, the old people, even the old way you see yourself, it all starts feeling heavy. It starts feeling wrong. It starts feeling like a skin that no longer fits. And at first, this feels confusing, because you don't know what is happening. You feel lost, but you are not lost. You feel empty, but you are not empty. You feel like something is ending, and that is because something is ending. Buddhism teaches that this is not destruction, this is transformation. This is your sign that you are outgrowing who you used to be. Most people stay trapped in their old self, not because they want to suffer, but because change feels scary. It feels unknown, and the mind hates the unknown. The mind prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar freedom. That is why people stay in toxic relationships. That is why people keep going back to the same bad habits. That is why people remain addicted to validation. That is why people tolerate disrespect. Because even if it hurts, it feels familiar, and familiarity feels safe. But Buddhism teaches something powerful. It teaches that attachment is the root of suffering, and one of the deepest attachments is attachment to identity. People cling to the version of themselves that others know. They cling to the image they built. They cling to the personality they used to survive. They cling to being the good one, the strong one, the quiet one, the nice one, the funny one, the people pleaser. They cling to being the person who never says no, the person who always gives, the person who always tries. And then one day, life forces them to confront the truth. That identity is exhausting. That identity is heavy. That identity is not their real self. It is a mask they wore to be accepted. This is why letting go is not just about letting go of people. Letting go is also about letting go of who you were, because many times the person holding you back is not someone outside of you. It is the old you inside you, the you that overthinks, the you that doubts, the you that fears rejection, the you that needs attention, the you that gets attached easily, the you that keeps waiting for validation, the you that keeps living for people's approval. Your sign today is that you are ready to release that version. You are ready to stop being a prisoner of your old identity. You are ready to stop being controlled by your old wounds. You are ready to stop living as the person who was built from pain and fear. Buddhism teaches that everything is impermanent. Even the version of you that you think is you is impermanent. Your thoughts change, your emotions change, your personality evolves, your desires change. Your beliefs change. Life is movement. Life is transformation. But suffering happens when you resist this movement. Suffering happens when you cling to what is already ending. Think about how many times you held on to something that was clearly falling apart. You held on to a friendship that no longer respected you. You held on to a relationship that no longer felt safe. You held on to a dream that no longer aligned with your soul. You held on to a version of yourself that no longer felt true. And the reason it hurt so much was because you didn't want to accept the ending. You wanted it to stay the way it was. You wanted it to go back to the past. But Buddhism teaches that trying to return to the past is the fastest way to suffer, because the past is gone and life only moves forward. So what does it mean to let go of who you were? It means you stop carrying the old version of yourself like a burden. It means you stop introducing yourself through your old pain. It means you stop repeating the same story in your mind. It means you stop saying, "This is just how I am," when deep down you know you can grow. It means you stop accepting your bad habits as your identity. It means you stop living in survival mode. Survival mode is when your mind is always alert, always suspicious, always anxious, always waiting for something to go wrong. Survival mode is when you can't relax, even in good moments. Survival mode is when you can't trust anyone fully, not because everyone is bad, but because you have been hurt before. Survival mode is when you keep expecting disappointment. Survival mode is when you keep holding back your true self because you fear getting rejected again. Buddhism teaches that survival mode is not your true nature. It is a reaction. It is something you learned. It is something your mind created to protect you. But what once protected you can later become your prison, because when you stay in survival mode too long, you stop living, you stop enjoying, you stop trusting, you stop expanding, you stop taking risks, you stop opening your heart, you stop growing. Your sign today is that you do not need to live like that anymore. You are not that helpless person anymore. You are not that weak version anymore. You are not that scared soul anymore. You are growing. You are learning. You are becoming stronger. And now it is time to release the identity that was built out of fear. But here is what makes this difficult. The moment you start changing, people will notice. Some people will support you, but some people will resist you. Because people get comfortable with the version of you that benefits them. They get comfortable with the version of you that always says yes. They get comfortable with the version of you that is always available. They get comfortable with the version of you that never challenges them. They get comfortable with the version of you that tolerates disrespect. And when you start becoming stronger, when you start setting boundaries, when you start choosing peace, some people will feel uncomfortable. They will say you changed. They will say you became distant. They will say you became selfish. They will say you became cold. But Buddhism teaches that this is part of awakening, because when you stop being who you were, you will no longer fit into the same places. And that is not a problem. That is progress. Letting go of who you were also means letting go of the need to be understood by everyone. Because the truth is, not everyone will understand your growth. Not everyone will understand why you are choosing silence. Not everyone will understand why you are leaving drama. Not everyone will understand why you are detaching. Not everyone will understand why you are becoming disciplined. Not everyone will understand why you are protecting your energy. And you don't need them to understand. This is your life. Your healing is not a group project. Your transformation is not a debate. Your peace is not something people get to vote on. Buddhism teaches that your purpose is inner liberation. And inner liberation always requires separation from old patterns. Old patterns are not only people. Old patterns are also thoughts. Thoughts like, I'm not good enough. Thoughts like, I always fail. Thoughts like, people always leave. Thoughts like, I don't deserve peace. Thoughts like, I need someone to love me to feel valuable. Thoughts like, "I need attention to feel alive." Your sign today is that these thoughts are not truth. They are programming. They are habits of the mind. And Buddhism teaches that the mind can be trained. You can unlearn fear. You can unlearn insecurity. You can unlearn attachment. You can unlearn the need to chase. You can unlearn the addiction to validation. The biggest transformation happens when you stop reacting automatically, because automatic reactions are the old you. When someone ignores you, the old you panics. When someone criticizes you, the old you breaks. When someone leaves, the old you begs. When something doesn't go your way, the old you becomes angry. When life becomes uncertain, the old you overthinks. But the new you responds differently. The new you stays calm. The new you pauses. The new you observes. The new you doesn't chase. The new you doesn't beg. The new you doesn't lose dignity. The new you doesn't destroy their own peace for someone else. The new you chooses silence over drama. The new you chooses self-respect over attachment. This is what it means to become who you were meant to be. It means you stop living from pain and you start living from wisdom. Now listen carefully, because this part is powerful. Buddhism teaches that the self you cling to is not fixed. It is not permanent. It is something that changes every moment. The you of yesterday is not the same as the you of today. Your body has changed. Your mind has changed. Your experiences have changed. So why do you still hold on to an identity that no longer fits? You hold on to it because your ego is afraid. The ego wants to stay in control. The ego wants to stay familiar. The ego wants to protect its image. But Buddhism teaches that the ego is not your true self. It is just a construction built from fear, desire, and attachment. And the more you cling to ego, the more you suffer. This is why letting go feels like death sometimes. Not physical death, but ego death. It feels like you are losing yourself. It feels like you don't know who you are anymore. It feels like you are becoming empty. But Buddhism teaches that emptiness is not a bad thing. Emptiness is space. Emptiness is freedom. Emptiness is the ending of false identity. When you let go of who you were, you create space for the real you, the peaceful you, the wise you, the strong you, the disciplined you, the unshakable you. And the journey of becoming your true self is not loud. It is often quiet. It is often lonely. It is often misunderstood, because transformation is not always celebrated. Many times people only celebrate you when you are entertaining, when you are useful, when you are predictable. But when you become real, when you become strong, when you become independent, not everyone will stay. But that is okay, because the people who leave were never meant to go where you are going. The old places you outgrow were never meant to hold your future. The old habits you release were never meant to create your next level. So your sign today is to stop holding on to what is ending. Stop holding on to who you used to be. Stop holding on to the version of yourself that suffered silently. Stop holding on to the person who always had to beg for love. Stop holding on to the identity that was built from pain. Because the moment you release it, you finally become who you were meant to be. A person who is calm, a person who is free, a person who is whole, a person who does not chase, a person who does not collapse from rejection, a person who does not depend on validation, a person who does not lose peace because of people. This is your purpose, to evolve, to awaken, to become the real you. And the real you is not desperate. The real you is not weak. The real you is not begging. The real you is not afraid of being alone. The real you is not addicted to approval. The real you is peaceful. The real you is powerful. The real you is free. So take this moment as your sign. Let go of the old self. Step into your new self. Walk away from what drains you. Walk toward what aligns with your soul. Because you were never meant to stay the same. You were meant to grow. And when you let go of who you were, you finally become who you were meant to be. 12. Your greatest breakthrough happens when you stop running from yourself. There is a truth that most people avoid their entire life, and that truth is this: the hardest person to face is not your enemy, not the world, not society, not even the people who hurt you. The hardest person to face is yourself, because facing yourself means you can no longer hide behind excuses. Facing yourself means you can no longer blame everyone for everything. Facing yourself means you have to sit with your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own regrets, your own fears, and the parts of you that you keep trying to silence. And this is exactly why so many people feel stuck, not because they don't want to grow, but because growth requires the one thing they are most afraid of: honesty with themselves. Buddhism teaches that suffering continues as long as you keep running from your emotions, running from your pain, running from silence, running from loneliness, running from discomfort, running from the truth. And the mind will find endless ways to run. It will run into distractions. It will run into entertainment. It will run into social media. It will run into toxic people. It will run into bad habits. It will run into addictions. It will run into chasing attention. It will run into overworking. It will run into overthinking. It will run into anything that keeps you away from your own inner world. And the sad part is, many people think they are busy, but they are not busy. They are escaping. They are escaping themselves. Because when they finally stop moving, the mind becomes loud. The emptiness becomes clear. The pain becomes real. The truth appears. And that truth is uncomfortable. But Buddhism teaches something that can change your life. The breakthrough you are looking for is not outside of you. It is inside of you. The peace you are searching for is not in a person, it is in your own awareness. The answers you are begging for are not in the world, they are in your own stillness. And that is why your greatest breakthrough begins the moment you stop running and you finally turn inward. Many people run from themselves because they think their mind is dangerous. They think if they are alone, they will collapse. They think if they face their thoughts, they will drown in them. They think if they feel too deeply they will break, so they avoid. They stay around noise, they stay around people, they stay around drama. They keep their life crowded. They keep themselves distracted. But Buddhism teaches that what you resist only grows stronger. If you resist your sadness, it becomes heavier. If you resist your pain, it becomes deeper. If you resist your fears, they multiply. If you resist your emotions, they control you, because the mind doesn't heal through avoidance. The mind heals through awareness. Awareness is like light. When there is darkness in a room, you don't fight the darkness, you bring light. In the same way, you don't fight your pain by running, you bring awareness to it. You observe it, you understand it, you allow it to be felt, and when you do that, it starts losing its power over you. Most people think healing means becoming happy all the time. They think healing means never feeling sadness again. They think healing means being perfect. But Buddhism teaches that healing means acceptance. Healing means you stop fighting your emotions and you start understanding them. Healing means you stop judging yourself for feeling pain. Healing means you stop being ashamed of your struggles. Healing means you stop treating your feelings like enemies. Because your emotions are not enemies, they are messengers. Pain is a messenger. It shows you what hurt you. Anxiety is a messenger. It shows you what you fear. Anger is a messenger. It shows you where your boundaries were crossed. Loneliness is a messenger. It shows you where you depended too much on others. Restlessness is a messenger. It shows you that your soul is not at peace. But when you run from these messengers, they become louder. They keep knocking. They keep disturbing you. They keep chasing you. And you get exhausted, not because life is too heavy, but because you keep avoiding the very thing that could set you free. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes peaceful when it becomes clear, and clarity comes when you sit with yourself, when you sit in silence, when you listen to what your heart has been trying to tell you. When you stop drowning it with noise. So your sign today is to stop running and start listening. Listen to your inner world. Listen to your pain. Listen to your needs. Listen to your truth. Because inside you, there is a part of you that has been screaming quietly for a long time. A part of you that feels neglected. A part of you that feels ignored. A part of you that feels unseen. And that part of you is not asking for attention from the world. It is asking for attention from you. The greatest breakthrough happens when you stop seeking yourself in other people. Many people are always looking for someone to save them. They want someone to love them enough to heal them. They want someone to support them enough to fix them. They want someone to understand them enough to complete them. But Buddhism teaches that nobody can complete you. The only person who can return you to wholeness is you. Because every time you depend on someone else for your emotional stability, you lose your power. You become fragile. You become anxious. You become attached. You become afraid of losing them. You become desperate, and then love becomes suffering. This is why Buddhism teaches inner independence. It teaches that you must become your own home. You must become your own comfort. You must become your own peace. And the way you become your own home is by facing yourself, by sitting with yourself, by learning yourself, by understanding your patterns. Your patterns are the reason you repeat the same pain. Some people keep attracting the same kind of disrespect because they never learned boundaries. Some people keep getting hurt the same way because they keep choosing the same type of people. Some people keep losing peace because they keep chasing validation. Some people keep feeling empty because they keep avoiding their inner truth. The breakthrough begins when you stop asking, "Why does this keep happening to me?" and you start asking, "What am I doing that keeps creating the same cycle?" This is not blame. This is power. Because when you see your own patterns, you can change them. When you see your own emotional habits, you can train them. When you become aware of your own mind, you can master it. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like water. When the water is shaking, you cannot see clearly. But when the water becomes still, everything becomes visible. In the same way, when your mind is always busy and distracted, you cannot see your truth. But when your mind becomes still, you finally see yourself clearly. And yes, at first, what you see may hurt. You may see that you stayed too long in places that drained you. You may see that you tolerated disrespect. You may see that you kept begging for love. You may see that you abandoned yourself for people who never valued you. You may see that you wasted time chasing things that did not fulfill you. But Buddhism teaches that seeing the truth is not punishment, it is freedom. Because once you see the truth, you stop living blindly. Once you see the truth, you stop repeating the same suffering. Once you see the truth, you begin to change. Your greatest breakthrough is not when life finally becomes easy. Your greatest breakthrough is when you finally become honest with yourself. Honest about what you need, honest about what you want. Honest about what you can no longer tolerate. Honest about what you must let go of. Honest about what you must become. And when you become honest, you become strong. Because clarity makes you strong. Awareness makes you strong. When you stop running from yourself, you stop running from pain. And when you stop running from pain, you stop suffering unnecessarily. You begin to process. You begin to heal. You begin to release. You begin to grow. This is why Buddhism teaches that silence is powerful. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is space. Silence is where you meet yourself. Silence is where you hear your truth. Silence is where you heal the parts of you that were ignored. Silence is where you become free from the world's noise. And once you start living from this inner space, your life changes. You stop reacting emotionally to everything. You stop being triggered by small disrespect. You stop being controlled by people's moods. You stop chasing attention. You stop begging for love. You stop needing validation. You start becoming calm. You start becoming stable. You start becoming peaceful. And that calmness becomes your power. Because a person who has faced themselves is a person who cannot be controlled. A person who knows themselves does not fear loneliness. A person who understands their mind does not fear uncertainty. A person who has healed their wounds does not beg for love. A person who has inner peace does not chase chaos. This is your sign today that you are ready for that breakthrough. You are ready to stop escaping. You are ready to stop distracting yourself. You are ready to stop running from your emotions. You are ready to stop avoiding your truth. Your greatest breakthrough is waiting for you in the place you have been avoiding, within yourself. So return to yourself. Sit with yourself. Learn yourself. Face yourself. Heal yourself. Because when you stop running from yourself, you finally start living as your true self. And that is real freedom. 13. Your real purpose is to live in the present, not inside your mind. If you want to know why you feel tired even after resting, why you feel stressed even when nothing is happening, why you feel like your life is moving but you are not really living, then this lesson is for you. Because one of the biggest silent problems in the modern world is that most people are not living in reality anymore. They are living inside their mind. Their body is here, but their mind is somewhere else. Their hands are doing daily work, but their thoughts are running in a different world. Their eyes are open, but they are not truly seeing life. Their heart is beating, but they are not truly present. Buddhism teaches that this is one of the deepest reasons people suffer, because suffering grows when you are trapped in the mind. The mind is always moving. It jumps into the past, it jumps into the future, it creates fears, it creates regrets, it creates stories, and it keeps you stuck in thoughts that are not happening right now. Some people live in the past. They replay old conversations, old mistakes, old heartbreaks, old pain, and old regrets. They keep thinking about what they should have said, what they should have done, what they should have avoided. They blame themselves for things that cannot be changed. They hold guilt in their heart, like a heavy stone. And even if life is peaceful today, their mind keeps bringing the past back, and they suffer again and again. Other people live in the future. They worry about what might happen. They worry about money. They worry about failure. They worry about rejection. They worry about whether they will succeed. They worry about whether they will be alone. They worry about what people will think. They worry about everything that hasn't even arrived. And because of that, their mind never rests. They wake up anxious. They go to sleep anxious. They live in a constant pressure, not because life is attacking them, but because their mind is attacking them with fear. Buddhism teaches that the mind can be your greatest tool, but it can also become your greatest trap. Because the mind is good at creating images, creating imagination, creating plans, creating memories. But if you are not careful, you will start believing those thoughts are reality. You will start living inside them, and then you lose the present moment, which is the only moment you actually have. The past is gone, the future is unknown, but the present is real. The present is where your life is happening. The present is where peace exists. The present is where joy exists. The present is where clarity exists. The present is where your purpose exists. This is why Buddhism teaches mindfulness. Mindfulness means awareness of the present moment. It means you are fully here. It means you are not lost in your thoughts. It means you are not controlled by memory. It means you are not controlled by fear. It means you can see life clearly as it is. But why is living in the present so important? Because when you live in the present, you stop suffering unnecessarily. Most suffering is created by thoughts, not by reality. A person can be sitting in a quiet room, completely safe, with no danger, no problems, no pressure, and still feel stressed, still feel scared, still feel heavy, because their mind is creating problems that are not happening. The mind is replaying pain. The mind is predicting disaster. The mind is imagining loss. The mind is creating fear. So Buddhism teaches that your real purpose is to return to the present. Not because the present is perfect, but because the present is real. And only in reality can you heal. Only in reality can you grow. Only in reality can you feel peace. When you live in your mind, you become a prisoner. When you live in the present, you become free. Now listen carefully. Living in the present does not mean you never plan for the future. It does not mean you forget your responsibilities. It means you stop sacrificing your peace today for problems that may never happen. It means you stop destroying your happiness now because of what happened before. It means you stop living like life is always somewhere else. Most people think happiness will come later. They say, when I get this job, then I'll be happy. When I have more money, then I'll relax. When I find the right person, then I'll feel complete. When I reach my goal, then I'll enjoy life. But Buddhism teaches that this is the biggest trap, because later is endless. When you achieve one thing, your mind creates another thing to chase. When you reach one goal, the mind creates another goal. When you fix one problem, the mind finds another worry. And suddenly, your whole life passes while you are chasing the next moment, and you forget to live the moment you are in. That is why Buddhism teaches that peace is not found in chasing. Peace is found in being present. Your sign today is that you have been too far away from your own life. You have been living in your thoughts too much. You have been overthinking too much. You have been worrying too much. You have been replaying too much. And your soul is tired. Your mind is tired. Your heart is tired. So what does Buddhism teach you to do? It teaches you to return. Return to your breath. Return to your body. Return to what is happening now. Return to the reality in front of you. When you return to the present, you start noticing things you missed for years. You notice the beauty in simple moments. You notice the peace in silence. You notice the calmness in breathing slowly. You notice the blessing of being alive. You notice that you don't always need more. You often need less. Less noise, less rushing, less comparing, less chasing, less thinking. Because the mind is like a storm. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. But when you stop feeding it, it begins to calm down. Buddhism teaches that thoughts are not your enemy, but they are not your master either. They are just mental events. They come and go. Some are useful, some are useless. Some are true, some are fear, some are wisdom, some are ego. But the moment you identify with every thought, you suffer. Many people believe every thought in their mind is truth. If they think, I'm not enough, they believe it. If they think, I'm going to fail, they believe it. If they think, nobody loves me, they believe it. If they think, I'll never be happy, they believe it. But Buddhism teaches that thoughts are not facts. Thoughts are passing clouds. The sky remains. And you are the sky. When you live in the present, you become the observer. You notice the thought, but you don't become it. You notice fear, but you don't become fear. You notice sadness, but you don't become sadness. You notice anger, but you don't become anger. And this is where freedom begins. Because when you become the observer, you stop being controlled. You stop reacting automatically. You stop ruining your life with emotional decisions. You stop destroying your peace with imagined problems. You start responding with calmness and wisdom. And that is purpose. The purpose of life is not just to achieve things, but to experience life fully, to taste your food, to feel the air, to hear the sound of silence, to enjoy small moments, to be present with people you love, to be grateful for what you have. Buddhism teaches that most people miss life because they are busy thinking about life. They are busy planning, busy regretting, busy worrying, busy imagining, busy comparing. And while they are busy doing that, life is passing. This is why the Buddha taught that the present moment is all you truly have. If you want peace, you must be here. If you want clarity, you must be here. If you want freedom, you must be here. So your sign today is to stop living inside your mind and start living inside your life. Stop carrying the past on your back. Stop fearing the future in your chest. Come back to now. Come back to breath. Come back to reality. Because your real purpose is not to be perfect, your real purpose is to be present. And when you become present, you become free. 14. The moment you stop chasing people, you start attracting the right life. This lesson is one of the most important signs you will ever receive, because so many people are suffering in silence simply because they are chasing the wrong things, and they don't even realize it. They think the pain they feel is normal. They think the anxiety they live with is just life. They think the emptiness inside them will disappear once they finally get love, attention, respect, or acceptance from someone. But Buddhism teaches something that can completely change your life. The more you chase, the more you suffer. And the moment you stop chasing people, you start attracting the right life. Most people don't suffer because they are unloved. They suffer because they are attached. They suffer because they made someone their emotional center. They suffer because they gave another person the power to decide their happiness. They suffer because they trained their mind to believe, if this person stays, I will be okay, but if they leave, my life is over. And when you live like that, your heart is always on the edge. You never feel safe. You never feel stable. You never feel calm, because your peace is not in your hands anymore. Your peace is in someone else's hands. This is why chasing is so dangerous, because chasing is not love. Chasing is fear. Chasing is insecurity. Chasing is attachment. Chasing is the belief that you are not enough by yourself. And that belief slowly destroys your confidence, your dignity, and your self-respect. Think about how many times you chased people who were not chasing you. You sent messages first. You cared more. You tried harder. You forgave more. You sacrificed more. You stayed loyal even when they were careless. You stayed kind even when they were disrespectful. You stayed available even when they treated you like an option. And the reason you did it was not because you were weak, but because you were hoping. You were hoping that if you love them enough, they will finally love you back in the same way. You were hoping that if you stay patient enough, they will finally change. You were hoping that if you give more, they will finally appreciate you. But Buddhism teaches that hope becomes suffering when it turns into attachment. When you attach to a person, you stop seeing reality clearly. You stop seeing what they are showing you. You stop accepting the truth of how they treat you. You start living in a fantasy of who they could be, instead of facing who they really are. And that fantasy becomes your prison. This is why Buddhism teaches detachment, not to make you cold, but to make you free. Because when you detach, you stop chasing what drains you. You stop begging for love. You stop needing attention to feel valuable. You stop requiring people to behave perfectly for you to feel peace. You start returning to yourself. And that is where real power begins. The moment you stop chasing people, your mind becomes lighter. because chasing people is exhausting. It drains your energy. It drains your emotions. It drains your time. It drains your peace. It turns you into someone who overthinks everything, someone who checks their phone too much, someone who worries too much, someone who doubts their worth too much. And the saddest part is, many people destroy their own mental health, chasing someone who is not even thinking about them. They lose sleep, they lose focus, they lose appetite, they lose happiness, while the other person lives normally. That is not love. That is emotional self-harm. Buddhism teaches that you must protect your mind like you protect your life, because your mind is your life. If your mind is restless, your life is restless. If your mind is anxious, your life becomes anxious. If your mind is peaceful, your life becomes peaceful. So your sign today is to stop chasing what steals your peace. Stop chasing people who don't choose you. Stop chasing someone who only values you when it benefits them. Stop chasing someone who keeps you confused. Stop chasing someone who makes you question your worth. Because the truth is, the right people never make you beg. The right people never make you chase. The right people never make you feel like an option. The right people don't punish you with silence. The right people don't play games with your emotions. The right people don't confuse you. If someone truly values you, they will not make you fight for basic respect. Now, many people hear this and think, if I stop chasing, I will lose everyone. And yes, you might lose some people. But Buddhism teaches that losing the wrong people is not a loss, it is liberation. Sometimes what you call loss is actually protection. Sometimes what you call rejection is actually redirection. Sometimes what you call abandonment is actually the universe removing what was not meant for you. And when you stop chasing, you begin to see who is real. Because the moment you stop trying so hard, the truth reveals itself. Some people will disappear. Some people will stop calling. Some people will move away. And that may hurt, but it also shows you something important. They were only there because you were carrying the relationship alone. This is a painful lesson, but it is also a powerful one, because it means you were never truly loved the way you deserved. You were just useful, you were just available, you were just convenient. And you were not born for that. You were born to be valued. You were born to be respected. You were born to be loved with consistency, not confusion. This is why Buddhism teaches that self-respect is more important than attachment, because attachment will make you tolerate disrespect. Attachment will make you accept half-love. Attachment will make you stay where you are not appreciated. Attachment will make you shrink your standards. Attachment will make you beg. But self-respect will make you walk away. Self-respect will make you protect your peace. Self-respect will make you stop settling. And the moment you choose self-respect, your life begins to shift. Because when you stop chasing people, you make space. And space is powerful. Space is where new blessings enter. Space is where new opportunities enter. Space is where new peace enters. Space is where new people enter. Space is where your mind becomes clear again. Many people don't realize this, but when you keep chasing people, you block your own life. You block your growth. You block your healing. You block your peace, because you are always emotionally busy. You are always mentally attached. You are always distracted. But when you stop chasing, you return to yourself. And when you return to yourself, you begin to grow. You start improving your health. You start fixing your mindset. You start building your discipline. You start learning new skills. You start becoming stronger. You start becoming calmer. You start building a life that does not depend on anyone's attention. And that is the beginning of attraction. Attraction does not mean you manipulate life. Attraction means you become the type of person who naturally receives good things because your energy is clean, your heart is stable, and your mind is peaceful. Buddhism teaches that what you attract in life is deeply connected to what you are. If you are desperate, you attract chaos. If you are insecure, you attract confusion. If you are emotionally dependent, you attract people who control you. But if you are calm, you attract stability. If you are mature, you attract respect. If you are peaceful, you attract peace. So the moment you stop chasing people, you stop vibrating from neediness and you start vibrating from wholeness. And wholeness is attractive. Wholeness is powerful. Wholeness is rare. The right people are drawn to someone who is not begging. The right people respect someone who is not desperate. The right life opens up for someone who is not chasing. This is why Buddhism teaches that you must stop forcing life. You must stop gripping life. You must stop trying to control outcomes. You must stop trying to hold people who don't want to stay. Because forcing creates suffering, but letting go creates freedom. Now listen carefully, because this next part is important. Stopping the chase does not mean you stop loving. It means you stop losing yourself. It means you stop shrinking your worth. It means you stop acting like love is something you must earn through suffering. Real love does not require you to beg. Real love does not require you to chase. Real love does not require you to destroy your peace. So your sign today is to stop chasing and start becoming. Start becoming disciplined. Start becoming calm. Start becoming emotionally strong. Start becoming independent. Start becoming proud of yourself. Start building a life where your happiness is not controlled by anyone. Because when you build that life, you will never chase again. You will choose. You will attract. You will receive. And the right life will find you. The right people will find you. The right peace will find you. The right purpose will find you. Because the moment you stop chasing people, you finally start walking toward your true self. And that is where everything changes. 15. Your soul breathes when you stop holding on to what hurts you. There is a kind of pain that doesn't look dramatic on the outside, but it slowly destroys you from the inside. It is the pain of holding on to someone who keeps hurting you, holding on to memories that keep breaking your heart, holding on to a past that you cannot change, holding on to expectations that keep disappointing you, holding on to hope that keeps you stuck, holding on to what is already ending. And the reason this pain is so dangerous is because it becomes normal to you. You wake up with it. You carry it through the day. You sleep with it. It becomes part of your life, and you start believing that suffering is just how it is. But Buddhism teaches that you were not born to suffer like this. You were not born to carry emotional weight every day. You were not born to live with a heart that feels heavy all the time. Your soul was meant to breathe. That is why letting go is not a small thing. Letting go is not just moving on. Letting go is liberation. Letting go is survival. Letting go is the beginning of peace. Most people don't realize how much they are holding on to. They hold on to people who do not respect them. They hold on to relationships that drain them. They hold on to friendships that only exist when they are useful. They hold on to the need to be chosen. They hold on to old pain and call it love. They hold on to suffering and call it loyalty. They hold on to emotional hunger and call it attachment. But Buddhism teaches that attachment is not love. Attachment is fear. Attachment is the fear of being alone. Attachment is the fear of starting over. Attachment is the fear of losing something you became used to. Attachment is the fear of facing the emptiness you feel inside. And because of this fear, people stay stuck. They stay in situations that hurt them, not because they don't know it hurts, but because they believe the pain is better than the unknown. This is why Buddhism teaches that the mind prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar peace. And that is one of the biggest traps in life, because familiar pain is still pain. It still drains you. It still damages your mental health. It still steals your joy. It still weakens your energy. It still keeps your heart restless. So your sign today is to stop choosing familiar suffering. Stop holding on to what hurts you. Many people say, "I can't let go." But the truth is, it's not that you can't let go, it's that you are afraid to let go. You are afraid of what happens if you release it. You are afraid of what life looks like without it. You are afraid of being alone. You are afraid of silence. You are afraid of emptiness. But Buddhism teaches something powerful. The emptiness you fear is not the enemy, it is space. Space for your healing, space for your growth, space for your peace, space for your new life. Because as long as your hands are full of what hurts you, you cannot hold what is meant for you. As long as your heart is busy holding old pain, it cannot receive new peace. As long as your mind is trapped in the past, it cannot fully live in the present. Holding on hurts because it creates a constant inner fight. One part of you knows you deserve better, but another part of you is attached. One part of you knows you should move forward, but another part of you is scared. One part of you wants peace, but another part of you keeps chasing, and this inner conflict makes you tired. It makes you restless. It makes you emotionally drained. This is why some people feel tired even when they are doing nothing, because they are carrying emotional weight. They are carrying thoughts. They are carrying memories. They are carrying attachments. They are carrying expectations. And all of that becomes a silent burden that never leaves the heart. Buddhism teaches that the real reason your soul feels heavy is because you are holding on to what is already trying to leave. Sometimes people leave because they were not meant to stay. Sometimes relationships end because they were not meant to continue. Sometimes life breaks things apart because those things were blocking your growth. But when your mind refuses to accept this, you suffer. You suffer because you are gripping a rope that is burning your hands, and you don't want to let go. But your soul was not meant to be burned like that. Your soul was meant to breathe. Now listen carefully, because this is the part that changes everything. Letting go does not mean you didn't care. Letting go does not mean the love was fake. Letting go does not mean what happened wasn't real. Letting go simply means you refuse to suffer forever. It means you refuse to carry pain just to prove you were loyal. Buddhism teaches that clinging is the cause of suffering, and the end of clinging is peace. Clinging to someone who doesn't choose you will always hurt. Clinging to a past that is gone will always hurt. Clinging to an outcome that you cannot control will always hurt. Clinging to the idea that people must behave a certain way will always hurt. And this is why you must release. Because the moment you release, your mind becomes lighter, your chest becomes lighter, your heart becomes quieter, your energy returns to you, you start breathing deeper, you start sleeping better, you start thinking clearly again, you start feeling calm again, you start feeling like yourself again. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is gaining. You are gaining peace. You are gaining clarity. You are gaining self-respect. You are gaining freedom. But the mind will test you. It will bring memories. It will bring doubts. It will bring questions. It will bring guilt. It will bring moments where you want to go back. It will whisper, "Maybe it wasn't that bad." It will whisper, "Maybe they will change." It will whisper, "Maybe I should try again." And that is where your growth begins, because the purpose of letting go is not only to leave the pain, it is to stop returning to it. Many people let go physically, but mentally they still hold on. They stop talking to the person, but they keep thinking about them. They leave the relationship, but they keep replaying it in their mind. They move forward outside, but inside they are still stuck in the past. Buddhism teaches that true letting go happens in the mind. It happens when you stop feeding the memory. It happens when you stop reopening the wound. It happens when you stop checking what they are doing. It happens when you stop hoping for a message. It happens when you stop imagining conversations that will never happen. Because every time you give attention to the past, you give energy to suffering. Your sign today is to stop feeding the past. Stop feeding memories that hurt you. Stop feeding people who don't care. Stop feeding attachment that keeps you weak. Because the more you feed it, the more it grows. And the more it grows, the more it controls you. Buddhism teaches that your mind is like a garden. If you keep watering weeds, they will grow and take over. If you stop watering them, they will slowly die. Painful memories are weeds. Attachment is a weed. Overthinking is a weed. Dependence is a weed. You cannot heal if you keep watering the weeds. So start watering peace. Water self-respect. Water discipline. Water your future. Water your own growth. Now, this lesson is not telling you to become cold. It is telling you to become wise. Wisdom means you stop repeating the same suffering. Wisdom means you stop giving your heart to the same pain again and again. Wisdom means you choose peace even when it hurts at first. Because yes, letting go hurts at first. It feels like losing a part of you. It feels like walking away from something familiar. It feels like stepping into uncertainty. But Buddhism teaches that the pain of letting go is temporary, while the pain of holding on is permanent. Temporary pain leads to freedom. Permanent pain leads to suffering. So your soul breathes when you finally choose the temporary pain of growth over the permanent pain of attachment. And one day you will look back and realize the thing you were holding on to was never your peace. It was never your love. It was never your destiny. It was just your fear. You were holding fear. You were holding lack. You were holding the need to be chosen. You were holding the addiction to attention. You were holding the hope that someone would finally become what they never were. And that is why your heart was exhausted. But when you let go, you return to yourself. You stop being scattered. You stop being emotionally drained. You stop being controlled by someone else's behavior. You stop needing people to act right for you to feel okay. You become stable. You become grounded. You become calm. That is inner freedom. Your sign today is that you are ready for that freedom. You are ready to release. You are ready to stop holding on to what hurts you. You are ready to stop begging. You are ready to stop chasing. You are ready to stop suffering in silence. So let go. Let go quietly. Let go with dignity. Let go without revenge. Let go without drama. Let go without needing them to understand. Let go because your peace is more important than their presence. Let go because your soul deserves to breathe again. And when your soul breathes again, you will finally feel what you forgot for so long: calmness, lightness, and peace. That is your purpose: to be free, to be whole, to be at peace. And it begins the moment you stop holding on to what hurts you. 16. Your purpose is to become your own safe place, not to be saved by others. If you want to understand what true inner freedom looks like, then this lesson is going to hit you deeply, because it speaks to one of the most hidden struggles many people carry. Many people don't just want love, they want rescue. They don't just want a relationship, they want someone to come into their life and heal everything that hurts inside them. They don't just want friends, they want people who can fill the emptiness in their heart. They don't just want support, they want someone to carry their pain for them. And because of this, they spend their whole life searching for a person who can save them. But Buddhism teaches something powerful and also uncomfortable at first. Nobody can save you the way you think they can. People can support you, people can love you, people can guide you, but nobody can live your life for you. Nobody can fix your mind for you. Nobody can heal your inner wounds for you. Because the deepest healing does not come from someone entering your life, it comes from you entering yourself. Your purpose is not to spend your life waiting to be saved. Your purpose is to become your own safe place. And this is important, because many people look strong on the outside, but inside they are emotionally homeless. They don't feel safe within themselves. They don't feel stable within their own mind. They don't feel peaceful when they are alone. They fear silence. They fear being by themselves. They fear that if nobody is there, they will collapse. That is why they keep chasing people, even when those people are hurting them. That is why they stay in toxic relationships, even when their soul feels drained. That is why they tolerate disrespect, because the pain of being disrespected feels smaller than the fear of being alone. But Buddhism teaches that being alone is not what destroys you. What destroys you is not having peace inside yourself. What destroys you is a mind that constantly attacks you. What destroys you is a heart that depends on others to feel valuable. So the real purpose is not to find safety in other people, it is to build safety inside yourself. Because when you become your own safe place, you stop begging for love, you stop chasing attention, you stop forcing relationships, you stop accepting half-love, you stop tolerating disrespect, you stop needing constant validation, you stop feeling empty when nobody checks on you. You stop feeling abandoned when someone leaves. And that kind of inner stability is real power. Buddhism teaches that suffering often comes from dependence. Dependence on people's words, dependence on people's moods, dependence on people's presence, dependence on people's approval. And as long as your peace depends on someone else, you will never feel free, because you will always fear losing them. Even if they are hurting you, you will still hold on, because your mind is addicted to the comfort of their presence. But when you become your own safe place, you no longer fear losing people. You still feel the sadness, yes, but you do not collapse. You still miss them, yes, but you do not lose yourself. You still care, yes, but you do not beg, because you know your stability is inside you. Now listen carefully, because this is where most people get it wrong. They think needing others is love. They think dependence is love. They think attachment is love. But Buddhism teaches that attachment is not love. Attachment is fear. Attachment says, I need you to be okay. Love says, I care about you, but I will not lose myself. And when you understand this difference, you stop confusing emotional hunger with love. Many people are emotionally hungry. They want to be seen. They want to be chosen. They want to be valued. They want to be important to someone. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to feel loved. The problem begins when you forget how to love yourself. The problem begins when you stop being your own support. The problem begins when you abandon yourself to keep someone else close. This is why Buddhism teaches self-awareness and self-compassion. It teaches you to look inside and ask yourself, why do I need this person so much? Why does silence scare me? Why do I feel empty when I'm alone? Why do I chase people who don't choose me? Because the answers to those questions are the beginning of freedom. Often, the reason you chase love is not because love is rare, but because you don't feel safe in yourself. The reason you attach easily is not because you are weak, but because you fear being alone with your thoughts. The reason you overthink is not because you are too smart, but because your mind is searching for control and security. Buddhism teaches that the mind becomes calm when it learns to trust itself. When your mind trusts itself, it does not panic easily. When your heart trusts itself, it does not beg for reassurance every day. When you trust yourself, you stop searching for someone to complete you, because you feel whole inside. And being whole does not mean your life is perfect. It means you are emotionally grounded. It means you know how to comfort yourself. It means you know how to calm your mind. It means you know how to sit with sadness without drowning. It means you know how to handle rejection without losing your worth. It means you know how to face hard days without collapsing. This is what it means to become your own safe place. It means you become the person you needed when you were younger. It means you become the love you were begging for. It means you become the stability you were searching for in others. And yes, this takes time. It is not something you do in one day. It is something you build through daily practice. Buddhism teaches that peace is trained, not found. Inner safety is trained, not given. Emotional strength is trained, not gifted. So how do you become your own safe place? You start by learning to be alone without running away. You stop filling every silent moment with distractions. You stop escaping into noise. You stop using people as medicine. You stop using validation as comfort. You start sitting with yourself more often. Not in a scary way, but in a healing way. You start becoming familiar with your own mind. Then you start building boundaries. Because a safe place must have protection. You cannot be safe within yourself if you keep allowing toxic people to enter your life freely. You cannot be peaceful if you keep staying where you are disrespected. You cannot be emotionally stable if you keep tolerating chaos. So Buddhism teaches that self-respect is part of peace. Choosing peace means choosing what aligns with you. Choosing peace means leaving what drains you. Choosing peace means saying no without guilt. Choosing peace means protecting your energy. Another step is learning to stop overthinking. Overthinking is one of the biggest reasons people feel unsafe, because the mind keeps creating danger even when there is none. It keeps predicting worst-case scenarios. It keeps imagining rejection. It keeps preparing for pain. And because of this, you feel anxious even when you are safe. Buddhism teaches mindfulness to calm this. Mindfulness means returning to breath, returning to now, returning to reality instead of imagination. And slowly, as you practice mindfulness, your mind becomes less reactive. You stop being shaken by small things. You stop feeling panic over small silence. You stop feeling pain from small delays. You stop feeling worthless because someone didn't respond, because your mind is no longer depending on outside signals to feel stable. And here is a beautiful truth. When you become your own safe place, you stop attracting people who want to use you. You stop attracting people who want to control you. You stop attracting people who are emotionally unhealthy, because your energy changes. You stop being desperate, and desperation is what attracts chaos. You stop being needy, and neediness is what attracts manipulators. You stop being emotionally hungry, and hunger is what attracts people who feed on your weakness. When you become emotionally stable, you attract stability. When you become calm, you attract peace. When you become whole, you attract people who are whole. This is why Buddhism teaches that your inner world creates your outer life. Most people think life is just happening to them, but Buddhism teaches that life is responding to you. Your choices, your mindset, your emotional habits, your attachments, your energy, they all shape the direction of your life. So, if you want a better life, you must become a better inner home. You must become a safer space for yourself. And once you become that safe place, everything changes. You don't fear loneliness anymore because you are not lonely inside. You don't fear rejection anymore because your worth is not in people's hands. You don't fear being misunderstood anymore because you know who you are. You don't fear losing people anymore because you trust yourself to survive and grow. You stop begging. You stop chasing. You stop forcing. You start choosing. You start building. You start growing. And that is purpose. The purpose is not to be rescued by someone. The purpose is to become free inside. So take this as your sign today. Stop waiting for someone to save you. Stop hoping someone will heal what you refuse to face. Stop searching for comfort in people who can leave. Stop building your happiness in someone else's hands. Become your own safe place. Because when you finally become your own safe place, you will never feel desperate again. You will never feel emotionally homeless again. You will finally feel calm, stable, and complete inside. And that is the kind of freedom most people never reach. But you can. 17. The day you stop taking everything personally, you become free. This lesson is one of the strongest signs you can ever receive, because taking things personally is one of the biggest invisible chains in life. It is the kind of chain that doesn't look like a problem, but it slowly steals your peace every single day. It steals your happiness, it steals your confidence, it steals your energy, and most people don't even realize it is happening. Because when you take everything personally, you suffer from things that were never even about you. You suffer from people's moods, you suffer from their silence, you suffer from their attitude. You suffer from their selfishness, you suffer from their insecurity, you suffer from their lack of maturity. And because you keep thinking it is your fault, you start carrying guilt, doubt, and sadness that doesn't even belong to you. Buddhism teaches that the world is full of people who are asleep inside their own minds. People react based on their pain. People speak based on their wounds. People judge based on their ego. People ignore based on their own confusion. People hurt others because they are hurting inside. And if you take everything personally, you will keep drowning in other people's inner storms. So your sign today is to wake up and realize this truth. Not everything is about you. Most people think if someone is rude, it means you are not good enough. If someone ignores you, it means you are not important. If someone leaves, it means you were not valuable. If someone criticizes you, it means you are failing. If someone doesn't respect you, it means you are weak. And because of these beliefs, they spend their whole life trying to prove their worth. They try to become perfect. They try to become loved by everyone. They try to be accepted by people who cannot even accept themselves. But Buddhism teaches that this is suffering created by illusion. The illusion is that you are responsible for people's behavior. The illusion is that if you are good enough, people will always treat you right. The illusion is that if you are kind, nobody will hurt you. The illusion is that if you love deeply, you will always be loved back. But life doesn't work like that. People's behavior often has nothing to do with your value. It has everything to do with their level of awareness. Some people hurt you because they are insecure. Some people ignore you because they are emotionally empty. Some people disrespect you because they lack character. Some people leave because they fear commitment. Some people betray because they have no loyalty. Some people criticize because they are jealous. Some people stay silent because they are immature. And if you keep taking their actions personally, you will spend your whole life suffering for things that were never yours to carry. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment, and taking things personally is a form of attachment. It is attachment to ego. Ego means the part of you that wants to feel important, wants to feel respected, wants to feel seen, wants to feel accepted. Ego is not always arrogance. Ego can also look like insecurity. Ego can look like overthinking. Ego can look like being easily offended. Ego can look like needing constant reassurance. When you take things personally, your ego is constantly trying to protect itself. It is constantly asking, did they disrespect me? Did they ignore me? Did they mean that? Do they still love me? Am I being rejected? Am I not enough? And because of these questions, your mind becomes restless. That restlessness is not peace. That restlessness is suffering. This is why Buddhism teaches awareness. Awareness helps you see what is happening without reacting emotionally. Awareness helps you separate your inner peace from people's behavior. Awareness helps you stop absorbing everything like a sponge. Because some people will throw their pain at you, and if you are not aware, you will catch it and carry it. But the wise person does not catch what is not theirs. The wise person watches it pass. The wise person understands, that is their mind, not my worth. That is freedom. Now listen carefully, because taking things personally is one of the biggest causes of overthinking. The reason you overthink is not because you are too smart. It is because you are too emotionally attached. You are attached to being liked. You are attached to being respected. You are attached to being chosen. You are attached to being understood. And when reality does not match your expectations, your mind starts fighting. It starts replaying conversations. It starts creating stories. It starts imagining bad intentions. It starts assuming the worst. It starts punishing you with thoughts. And because of this, you suffer even when nothing is happening. Someone doesn't reply, you suffer. Someone's tone changes, you suffer. Someone doesn't smile, you suffer. Someone acts distant, you suffer. And all of this suffering is created by the mind trying to make everything about you. But Buddhism teaches that other people are living in their own world. Their silence may be because they are tired. Their mood may be because they are stressed. Their distance may be because they are dealing with their own problems. Their attitude may be because they are emotionally immature. Their disrespect may be because they lack peace. So when you stop taking things personally, you stop suffering unnecessarily. You stop saying, why are they doing this to me? And you start saying, this is who they are. You stop saying, what did I do wrong? And you start saying, this is their level. You stop saying, I need to prove myself, and you start saying, I need to protect my peace. This is the shift that makes you powerful. Because when you stop taking things personally, you stop reacting emotionally. And when you stop reacting emotionally, you stop losing control. Most people ruin their life not because life is against them, but because they react with emotion. They say things they regret. They chase people who don't care. They beg. They argue. They fight. They collapse. They lose dignity. They self-sabotage. And later, when the emotion is gone, they realize they destroyed their peace for nothing. Buddhism teaches that the calm mind is the strongest mind, and the calm mind is built by learning not to take things personally. Now, this does not mean you tolerate disrespect. It does not mean you accept bad treatment. It means you respond wisely instead of emotionally. It means you set boundaries without anger. It means you walk away without needing revenge. It means you protect your peace without needing to prove anything. Because the person who takes things personally always feels like they must respond, they must explain, they must argue, they must defend themselves, they must prove their worth. And that is exhausting. But the person who is free knows something powerful. You don't need to defend your worth to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need to argue with someone who only wants to win. You don't need to fight for respect from someone who has no respect inside themselves. You don't need to prove your value to someone who cannot see it. That is freedom. Buddhism teaches that your peace is more important than your ego. Many people lose peace to protect ego. They fight because they want to feel respected. They argue because they want to feel understood. They chase because they want to feel chosen. But the cost of this is high. You lose energy, you lose sleep, you lose clarity, you lose happiness. But when you choose peace over ego, your life becomes lighter. You stop caring about small opinions. You stop being hurt by every comment. You stop being controlled by every reaction. You stop giving power to people who are not important. And slowly, You become unshakable. Now think about how powerful this is. Imagine living a life where people's moods don't control you, where someone's silence doesn't shake you, where criticism doesn't destroy you, where rejection doesn't ruin your confidence, where disrespect doesn't make you collapse, where misunderstandings don't drain your energy. That is real freedom. And this freedom is not built by changing the world. It is built by changing your mind. So how do you practice this? Buddhism teaches you to pause. Pause before reacting. Pause before replying. Pause before assuming. Pause before overthinking. And in that pause, you ask yourself, is this really about me, or is this about their state of mind? You breathe, you observe, and you decide to respond with wisdom. Sometimes the best response is silence. Sometimes the best response is distance. Sometimes the best response is letting people reveal who they are without you trying to fix them. Because not every problem is yours to solve. Not every person is yours to save. Not every opinion is yours to carry. Not every mood is yours to absorb. Buddhism teaches that suffering ends when you stop carrying what was never meant for you. So take this lesson as your sign today. Stop taking everything personally. Stop making your peace depend on other people's behavior. Stop overthinking every small thing. Stop letting people's actions decide your value. People will talk. People will change. People will misunderstand you. People will disappoint you. But none of that should destroy your inner world. Because your purpose is not to be liked by everyone. Your purpose is to be free inside. The day you stop taking everything personally, you stop being controlled. You stop suffering unnecessarily. You stop reacting emotionally. You stop losing dignity. You stop losing peace. And you finally become the calm, strong, and free person you were meant to be. So now you understand the real meaning of this sign. It was never about chasing purpose outside of you. It was never about impressing people. It was never about proving yourself to the world. Buddhism teaches that your true purpose is inner freedom. It is to awaken from attachment. It is to stop living like your peace depends on people, outcomes, approval, or control. Your purpose is to become calm even when life is loud. Your purpose is to stay steady even when people change. Your purpose is to let go without hatred. Your purpose is to love without losing yourself. Your purpose is to live with truth, not fear. Your purpose is to stop taking everything personally and finally breathe again. Because the moment you detach, you stop suffering. The moment you stop chasing, you start attracting. The moment you stop begging, you start respecting yourself. And the moment you stop running from yourself, you finally meet the real you. So, take this as your sign today. Let go of what drains you. Walk away from what breaks you. Stop feeding thoughts that steal your peace. Stop holding on to people who only bring confusion. Stop carrying pain like it is your identity. Choose peace, choose awareness, choose freedom. And remember this, you were never meant to live small. You were never meant to live anxious. You were never meant to live attached to suffering. You were meant to wake up. This is your purpose.